Morning. This morning I'm going to read you a story called How You Got So Smart. And this story is by David Milgrim. On the back of this story, it talks about how you are to celebrate the inner genius in every kid. So think about something that you do every day that makes you feel so smart. It can be big or it could be small. Just look at you now. You've come very far. You're as sharp as a tack. You're as bright as a star. You've made us all proud by who you've become, and we'd like to review how you did what you've done. So do you hear all these different rhyming words too? I'll kind of show you. That's a little declaration of everything that this student in this book has done to make them brave and make them smart and courageous and kind. And we're going to learn about all those different things that they have done in their lives. You watched the world closely. You studied the sounds. You had a small taste of whatever you found. So maybe turn to your parents right now and talk about when you were a little baby here, what was something that you really had a taste for? Because we all know babies, they don't always taste just their food. See, this little guy is trying to taste a book, whereas this one's tasting a donut, which is regular food. But think to yourself, maybe even you remember when you were really little, not even a baby, but talk to your parents about something that you tasted. That was kind of uncommon. You've wondered and wondered, you love to explore. For every question, you had three more. Why is it called a pair of underwear if there's only one? Why is a fly called a fly, but an ant is not called a crawl? When cheese gets its picture taken, what does it say? So think about those questions and why this kid would be asking them. Did you think about those different questions that you have asked when you've been very curious as a little kid and you've wondered and you've loved to explore? Think of a question that maybe you might have right now with anything happening in your life that you have a question and you wonder about. That just makes you sure you are being curious. You loved a good mystery. You prodded and poked. Look at that child prodding and poking. So if you're prodding at something, you keep going over and over and over again, either asking questions or like he's poking over and over again. So you're prodding at something. Those poor animals. You knew how to listen when anyone spoke. Got it. So all these other kids, there's Z's all around. What does that mean if you have a Z speech bubble and you have your head down on your table? Are you listening to this teacher or are you doing something else? You made a few friends. You learned how to share. Ah! Want some of mine? What happened? What was the problem in there? And what was the solution? So remember, think of the problem as something bad that happened. Think of the solution. How did they fix it? How did this person become so kind? You were never afraid to show that you care. Will you be my Valentine? A stack full of donuts. How many of you would like a stack full of donuts? And think of what's your favorite kind of donut if you do. If you don't like donuts, I want you to think about what's something that you like to give away at Valentine's Day. So we didn't have Valentine's Day that long ago. Think about what you brought to the school party for all your friends to show your kindness. You gave things a try. You were brave and courageous. It tastes like chicken, says Mom. Cool. You like to do things that were wild and outrageous. So they're going over 3 fish bowls. They're going to fly up in the air. Think about a time that you've been brave and courageous, even if it's come to trying out new food, because I know sometimes we can be kind of picky eaters when we're little. Think of a time where you have become brave and courageous with that, and you've tried something either at a restaurant or what your mom and dad have made you, or a family member. And think of when you've done some cool trick, or you've been really wild and outrageous. So for me, I've tried some new different foods when I've traveled, and wild and outrageous, I've gone skydiving. So I've jumped out of a plane. That's pretty wild. You love to be challenged. You wanted to fly. 3, 2, 1, lift off! The more that you failed, the harder you tried. I'm okay. What does that remind you of when they say the more that you have failed, the harder you tried? What kind of mindset do we always talk about at Elizabeth Ide that makes you remember that? Think about that for a moment. It's okay to fail. It's okay to try. It's okay to not try. Because when we fail, we learn from our mistakes. That's that growth mindset. You put things together to see what they made. When life gives you lemons, you made lemonade. So if you can see, this is the sweet and sour lemonade company, lemon company. This kid is making some lemonade. They're pretty creative. You learned it's okay if you cry when you're sad, because it is okay to cry when you're sad. And how to express yourself when you are mad. I bet that they could learn some belly breathing too when they get upset, right? Taking that time and breathing in and out and learning different ways to express yourself when you're getting mad or frustrated. You had many teachers, you learned from them well. That's perfect. Now, who's that kid's teacher? It's not Mrs. Fletcher. It's not someone at Elizabeth Ide. Just remember that, especially right now when we're doing e-learning, that yes, we're your teachers, but you also have those amazing family members, whether they're your mom or your dad, your grandpa, your grandma, your aunt, your uncle, even your big brother or sister. They're still teaching you something every single day, whether it's school or real life things. So just remember that your teachers are not the only ones teaching you something that you can use. It's something that your family members can too. You had your own stories you needed to tell, so they did a little puppet show here with 2 fish. Want to go ashore and catch a human? Does a bear sleep in the woods? So I think they're saying, of course I want to go ashore and try to catch a human. You played your own music, you sang with your heart. Think about when you're with Mrs. Crows. What's your favorite song that you like to sing, or your favorite instrument? I know a lot of you have been doing so many amazing e-learning activities through choosing what she has up for you, and I'd love you to turn and share with someone that was your favorite. And look at you now, you're so brilliantly smart. They're reading about black holes in this book. You got where you're going, you did it your way. The cheers for you, hip hip hooray. So think about something that you today can celebrate the inner genius of yourself. And remember, that's the way that you got so smart.